Hello and welcome to Exploited Crimes and Technology. My name is Opal Singleton and we come to you every Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock right here on AM 590, The Answer. Well, we have a lot to talk about today and I'm having trouble figuring out which ones to share first. We have been so darn busy. This show is brought to you by Million Kids. That is millionkids.org, MILLION, millionkids.org, because more than 1 million kids a year are trafficked. And that is how we got our name. So we combat human trafficking, sextortion, social media exploitation. We also run Million Kids Missing Kids, which is what we're going to talk about mostly today, although I'm going to give you a couple of the latest cases and what's happened here. So we were involved over the weekend in helping to locate a young lady from Salt Lake City who was classified as a very serious, a grave concern for her. She was only 14 years old. And some people that knew her family, apparently she had met someone online, which is how all of this normally happens. And we don't have all the details, and I don't want to publish them if I did have them, because hopefully this will become a court case, and we want it to be able to be prosecuted cleanly and efficiently and get this bugger, okay? This young lady was from a foreign country, but she lived in Salt Lake City, and her parents didn't speak English. She has broken English. And she had come to the U.S. and had gotten a phone, a restricted phone, but believe me, young people know their way around it. And somewhere along the line, she met someone online. We don't have all the details, but she disappeared. And her family was just literally out of their mind. These individuals belong to a particular religion, a global religion, and that group, their church members contacted me because they knew about me and heard me speak over the years. And together we continue to work back and forth between the various languages from Salt Lake to identify that this young lady was down here in the Inland Empire. She's only 14 years old. And ultimately, we were able to get an address and get a hold of the police department, and they went out and rescued her. There was some consideration that they wanted me to go out and rescue her. I'm like, no, this is a police case. It is a legal case. You want to be able to prosecute this creep, whoever he is. Supposedly he's 16, but he drove her across 2 state lines. I've been in this business long enough to know that guy is probably not 16. He's probably an adult, and he's probably a very bad pedophile. But regardless of all of that, I don't know that. I'm not saying that he in fact is. It's a possibility that he is. But until they apprehend him and prosecute him, we're not going to go there. What it did tell me is, though it took most of my day Sunday, it was worth every bit of it. And it also told me that I think the public is not aware of just how many missing and runaway teenagers we have and what is behind that. And so one of the things that we do here at Million Kids, and your donations help make this happen, by the way, is we operate Million Kids Missing Kids. I think I started that about 2013, I think it was. And we have since sent out millions of flyers around the world to many people who then redistribute them themselves. So we have been involved in bringing home several people, many young people. In some cases, the flyers went out so far and wide, the kids are embarrassed and they see themselves on a telephone pole and they come home. But we're not always that lucky. Sometimes the child ends up in, as in this case, 2 states away. And, in a very grave situation where perhaps they could become violated. So Million Kids Missing Kids, if you're interested in learning more about that, please go to millionkids.org. You can sign up for our newsletter. You will get the flyers. If you're on Facebook, and I know a lot of you are not, and I understand why, but if you're on Facebook, go to Million Kids Facebook. This is Million Kids, the nonprofit, not the rock band. Okay, but Million Kids, and sign up for our Facebook so that you can get notified, especially when they are found and located and able to get services. If you really want to get educated, you can go to our private Facebook page, which is Million Kids Supporters. That doesn't mean you have to send us money, although certainly we appreciate it when you do, because we can't operate this stuff on our good looks. I don't care how hard we try. We need the real cash to be able to do these things, and we appreciate the people that support it. Well, I'm very, very excited. I was exhausted by last night when we went to dinner, but I was very excited to see that this young lady was located. She was rescued. Her family is eternally grateful, especially since they're not from this country and they are terrified of law enforcement. They have no idea how social media works. And this girl, all of a sudden, poof, she's gone. And all of this, as far as we can tell, took place because she went online and met up with somebody that she wanted to meet. And we're going to talk about how that all operates. One of the most important things that you can do is talk to your kids about the fact that they should never, ever, ever, never go out and meet someone they met online. Almost every case I get in that kind of situation, the young person ends up being greatly violated and they disappear. So I'm going to ask you to pay attention to this kind of thing. Talk to your kids. If they want to go out and meet up with someone, they need to know there's at least a 50-50 chance that the minute they get in the car with that guy, he's going to pull a gun or a knife on them, throw their phone out the window, and mom and dad will have no idea where they went. Now, last week, God, seems like a year. Anyway, last week we talked about a case out of San Bernardino County that ended better than we at all thought that it might. And I just want to add this in here because they have rescued the young man. He was a 17-year-old man who was broadsided by another oncoming car, just driving down the road, totally minding his own business when a couple of guys, 3 guys got out and kidnapped him. Now, this apparently has to do with something that has gone on in Mexico because their car came from the border. They wanted the parents, they contacted the mother, they wanted $500,000 or they were going to remove body parts from him. And they wanted that money sent to Mexico. And had, according to what was said, is apparently had to do with a debt related to the father. Well, ultimately, police really got busy. They got involved. They really did their work well. This kid was removed from San Bernardino all the way up to Santa Maria. I mean, who would know to look in Santa Maria? But they did some really, really fine investigating. And I want to comment on that I am very proud of the San Bernardino County Sheriff Department and also the San Bernardino County DA's office and the Riverside County Sheriff Department. I know he's taken some hits, but I watched this man and he will do whatever he needs to do to protect your children. The same way with the district attorney. So this is really, really good stuff going on here, that they were able to locate the young man. They were able to arrest the perpetrators, and the family did not have to put out the $500,000 and like that. But I want to just go on, and as we go into the show, I want to talk about the issue of missing and runaway kids. This is a huge issue. If you follow me and kids on our Facebook, right now I think we have 3 kids that we are looking for, and they are young people whose lives are in danger. We don't know all the background for it, but keep an eye out for it. We have one young lady right now who's 16 years old, looks like a great young lady. She ran away from Simi Valley. They think she's out by Banning or Morongo area. She is 16 years old, has brown hair. Her name's Aisha Scott. And she was last seen May 20th. So here's a situation where parents are like out of their mind, where family is really, really worried. And it is important to Million Kids as we got involved with Million Kids and missing kids and started to create this. We learned that 1 out of 6 kids who run away will be a victim of sex trafficking in the first 48 hours. That's 1 out of 6 in 48 hours. This is the reason we created Million Kids Missing Kids, because time is of the essence when these teenagers disappear. My name is Opal Singleton. This is brought to you by Million Kids, and we are up against that break. Be right back.
Are you tired of eating at the same old restaurants? Let me tell you about a fabulous Italian restaurant we found in Riverside, Mamma Mia's Italian Restaurant. Their caprese salad is exquisite with candied balsamic glaze. All of their sauces are special recipes using only the best olive oils. The salads are fresh and healthy. They offer a wonderful array of pastas, including shrimp scampi, capellini, bolognese, and lasagna. They're famous for their gourmet pizza, and you can order online for takeout or have a special date for dining in with family and friends. Mamma Mia's caters special occasions and hosts private events. You have to try it out. Mamma Mia's Italian Restaurant, located at 10971 Magnolia Avenue in Riverside, 1 block north of La Sierra on Magnolia. That's Mamma Mia's in Riverside. Be sure to tell Michael, Alex, or Joseph you heard it on AM 590 The Answer.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of millionkids.org. I believe the 4 most powerful words on earth are I believe in you. So we created a challenge coin that says I believe in you on one side and stand tall, you are loved on the other side. This one-of-a-kind challenge coin is a perfect gift for birthdays, anniversaries, graduation, Christmas presents, or just an anytime gift for someone you love. What a powerful message for a parent or a grandparent to give to a young person. This 2-inch coin is made of polished gold. It's striking to look at, and it is priceless to hold. It is packaged in a beautiful black velvet gift box. What a great way to leave a legacy of love that will last forever. To purchase this coin, go to millionkids.org/gallery. Each coin is $25. Go to millionkids.org/gallery to purchase and give a legacy of love.
Real estate sales in the Inland Empire are really hot. Sellers and buyers recognize that these low interest rates will not last. Sean and Colleen at Caldwell Banker Armstrong Properties in Riverside are proud to sponsor this show. They are the best in the Inland Empire. They're fair, honest, creative, and they care about you and your situation. If you're in the market to buy or sell a home, call Sean and Colleen at 951-529-4066.
AM 590, The Answer.
Hello, and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton, and we are talking about missing and runaway kids in Riverside and San Bernardino County, and what Million Kids plans to do about that. We've been doing this for many, many years, and we know that there are a wide variety of ways and means that kids run away, why they do it, where they go, and like that. Sometimes it's just a spat with the family. Sometimes they're just down the street. But nowadays, more often than not, they have actually ran away and got in a car with another person that they have no understanding what is about to happen to them. And that is the case of the young lady that we were involved in all day yesterday in trying to locate her and help her and like that. We have a couple of more missing and runaway kids. These are all on the Million Kids Facebook page. We have one young lady by the name of Anjanez Mata. She is 14 years old. Brown hair. She ran away on September 1st, so she hasn't been gone long, but she's very young, and she's 4'9", weighs 108 pounds. She ran away from Moreno Valley. They're asking you to keep an eye out for her in the Moreno Valley area. I wanted to just look at this one thing a minute here. Oh, they also believe that she might be out in Imperial Valley or Coachella, so if you're headed out that way, please look on the Million Kids Facebook site, see this. Her name's Anjanez Mata, and keep an eye out for her. We have one more that was last seen in Beaumont. She's 14 years old, absolutely cute as a bug, really, really cute. I don't know, are bugs cute? I don't know where I got that. I've been saying that for years. Are bugs cute? I don't know. She's just as cute as she can be. Her name is Cyria Rodriguez. Cyria Rodriguez. She is 14. She was last seen in Beaumont. She has dyed her blonde hair black. She weighs 110 pounds, 5 feet tall. She's thin, she's Hispanic, and she's just very, very cute. So I hope that I have inspired you to please go to Me and Kids on our Facebook page or even the Facebook supporter page. You have to ask to be admitted to that. That Facebook supporter page is kind of my baby, if you will. I have about 300 people that want to be trained to be advocates, and I don't have time to train each one individually. So this is a private group that you join up with. It doesn't cost anything. You just ask to be admitted, and I make sure who you are, and you can join in. And whatever I personally do the posting on there so that when we have a case that's out there, I can give you an analysis of it. And since we're talking about local cases, I'm going to tell you about one of the cases that is on this. Now, I want to use the word alleged because while this is advancing in court, he has not yet been charged. However, a judge has said that he will stand trial on felony charges. This is the case of Nicholas Garrett Corll, Corl, of Banning. He was charged with one felony count of lewd acts with a 15-year-old child who is more than 10 years younger than he is. That's a definition that we have related to child abuse in the state of California. So at the preliminary hearing Friday, the Banning Justice Center Judge Navarro ruled that there was sufficient evidence to warrant a trial for him. So he is going to stand trial in this case. Again, this is alleged until they come to some sort of agreement as to what the sentence and the charge would be if he is found guilty. And then, certainly found not guilty, then we need to look the other way. But this is a very concerning situation. He is 26 years old, and he is, I believe, a youth minister out at a church in Banning. Now, I just want to make a comment on that. Whether he's guilty or not guilty, this comment is based on any time you have someone who violates a young person and they are in a position of trust. And I don't care if that's a sports coach. I don't care if it's a priest, a rabbi, a youth pastor, a relative that's in there, a doctor. Anybody that is in a position of trust that violates a young person, that violation takes on an exponential component. In other words, you're not only been abused, but you've been betrayed by someone that you should be able to trust, and it will affect them for the rest of their life. So what happens here at the end of the hearing, they're setting a court date. He was a faculty member at the Calvary Christian School in Banning. Now, if my memory serves me right, I've done a huge amount of speaking over the last 15 years, and I can't remember every place I've spoken, but I remember that school as being a very high-quality school, and they must just be beside themselves to have a staff member accused of this. According to the allegations, he allegedly was with a 15-year-old girl in a storage room on the school grounds, according to the declaration in support of increased bail that was filed. It is alleged that someone saw the girl on his lap, face to face with him in a dark room while classes were in session. So this is going to advance. Everything in me wants to hope and believe this can't be true. This is not a good thing. This is not a good thing for the perpetrator. It is extremely damaging to a school that works very hard to have quality educators and be able to perform a quality service. And of course, my heart goes out to the victim. If this has really happened here, then that victim, it will affect her for the rest of her life. It really, really will. And I just find that really, really sad. So I want to go back over the next couple of sessions here while we're on the air and talk about this missing person kind of thing. I looked up and tried to find the number of reports of missing kids here in Riverside County and also in San Bernardino County so far this year. And I don't have that at this point. I did have kind of a casual conversation with a member of RPD, Riverside Police Department. By the way, hats off to Larry Gonzalez, Chief Gonzalez. I think he does a great job. He's been involved in several child cases where the child has been abused, or even in the Wynette case where there were actual deaths to family members. And he takes great care to handle it with care and consideration for the victims and the family that's involved. And that is one of the hard parts. But the other hard part about this is the sheer volume of what is going on. So this came from the state of California for last year, and it says the number of reports of missing children by county. Now, San Diego County had almost 4,200. San Bernardino had about 4,200. Riverside County had 5,200. Now, keep in mind, our county is 7,200 square miles, to be fair. But I was trying to think that out. That's almost 5,000 a month. Is that right? 5,200 divided by 12. Well, maybe 4.5, somewhere in there. Missing reports of children for Riverside County. If you think that's bad, Los Angeles County had almost 17,000 missing kids. But then again, they have a lot of homeless kids, and so that is a problem. But I tried to think this out between the Riverside County Sheriff and all the cities of Riverside to process cases for almost 4,500 kids a month is, it wouldn't be 45 kids a month. It's about 450, almost 500 kids a month. But still, that's more than 2 a day. And that is really, really a challenge for any police department. Now, I know in working many of these cases, they tell you that most of the kids, the majority of the kids, will return home in 48 hours or so. I looked at the numbers for the U.S. for number of kids under the 18. One of the things that was interesting to me was there were more males than females that had run away. 206,000 for the year last year, males that ran away, and 172,000 females that ran away. Now, that's for the whole United States over last year. So that's still almost 400,000 kids that are running away. So I look at this and I say, what can we do and what can we do different? What can we do to find them? What can we do to make sure that our kids don't run away? And what can we do if our kids run away? And that's what I want to spend the next couple of sessions on, is taking a look at those push-pull factors that cause endangered runaways, if you will, kids that are going to be harmed if they're out there, they're going to be violated. And so what can we do? What is causing it? And what can we do different? And how can we help find them? This is Opal Singleton. We are at that break, so stay with us. Be right back.
Societal Shift, A World Without Borders and a Home Without Walls. This is the most important book you will read this year, especially if you have children or grandchildren. We are living at the most important time in all of history. In 2020, the entire world will be connected by internet, more than 6 billion people coming together. Technology will provide many great advantages for our kids, but a world without borders for our kids is also a world without borders for pimps, predators, pedophiles, cartels, and organized crime. It is a home without walls because 87% of the kids sleep with their phone. It is the greatest societal experiment of all time. Our kids are technology geniuses, and their parents are technophobic. Some are techno-impotent. New apps come with no warnings on how a predator will use them against our kids. Advancing technologies like encrypted messaging, vaporware, artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, and the dark net will challenge law enforcement, teachers, and parents to keep kids safe. Recent research states that 9,000 kids a day are being blackmailed with a naked photo, and 58% will meet their predator. It is indeed a societal shift, and one in which most parents are unprepared. If you are a parent or grandparent, teacher, counselor, or social worker, please take time to read Societal Shift, Only $18.99 plus $6 shipping. Order today at millionkids.org. That's millionkids, millionkids.org. It'll be the greatest gift you can give your family and yourself. Order Societal Shift today. Million Kids takes checks and credit cards. Opal Singleton, the author, will personally sign the book and send it to you. Again, go to millionkids.org and order Societal Shift today. Join Million Kids. Keep our kids safe from predators.
Hello, and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. We are talking about missing and runaway teenagers, runaway kids, and what is behind it? How big is it? What can we do to save them, to help them? My experience is, and of course, I deal mostly with child exploitation related to social media, because, that's who Million Kids is all about. But my experience is so often they get online and they meet somebody and they get this fantasy relationship. Several years back, and it's still a valid resource, I wrote a book called Seduce: The Grooming of America's Teenagers. And it's all about how that seduction and grooming process works. And so, when we used to think of missing and runaway kids, it was kids that got in a fight with mom and dad, or mom and dad are getting a divorce, or there's a custody battle and the kid disappears. But nowadays, there's this huge factor where our kids are talking to millions of people they don't know. And so it's a fascinating thing that we are seeing such a massive increase in kids running away. Sometimes it's kids that show no signal that they're in trouble, because in this case, they're in a fantasy relationship. They think they're going to just go out and meet up with this guy, and he's going to be as wonderful as they think he is, and then everything's going to be hunky-dory. But it isn't that way. It almost always turns out that when they say they're 16 or 17 or 18, that they're really 45 or they're really 28. And these guys want bad stuff for that kid. And they've spent a lot of time grooming the kid. So the kid is in absolute denial about what's about to happen. So I looked up California under Rob Bonta, that is our Attorney General, and he has an article here about California missing persons. Now, keep in mind, this is not just children, this is missing persons. But he's saying that the California DOJ, Department of Justice, assists law enforcement and criminal justice agencies in finding missing persons, identifying unknown live and deceased persons through comparison of physical characteristics, fingerprints, and dental body x-rays. That was their first line in discussing it. And that just kind of made my heart stop, because they almost immediately are starting to talk about maybe that person isn't alive. And that's a scary place for any parent to go to. But they did have some good information later on. It says there's no waiting period for reporting a person missing. In other words, so many of these TV shows make you think that you got to wait 48 hours. There's no such thing as a waiting period when a child, especially a minor, is missing. Now, I will tell you that if your local police department has 400 to 500 open cases or cases that they're working on, they may not be able to get to it immediately, but they do begin to do what they call a triage, where they begin to say, what is the urgency in this case? What are their factors? For instance, the case I worked on all weekend, the thing that got my attention is it went to national media within less than 48 hours, and they said it was a dire situation. And so as the people are giving me the inside information and saying they know where she is, and I did that research, that immediately brought it to my attention that this was urgent. That we're not going to waste time on it. We're going to get the police in there. And the family is saying, no, we don't want police. Well, you're going to get police because you have a minor that's missing and somebody has picked her up and taken her across state lines twice, quite frankly. And so you will get the police. And so life gets tough. But there is no real waiting period for missing persons. All California police and sheriff department must accept any report, including a report by telephone, of a missing person, including runaways, somebody who chose to leave, without delay, and will give priority to the handling of the report. Well, there is a factor that they will give priority, but they have a limited amount of people that they have to be able to work with this. It says schools are part of the program of missing children, not only through notices required to the public school district or private school within 10 days of the child's disappearance, also through the missing person bulletin. Well, one of the reasons why Million Kids started Million Kids Missing Kids is that 24 hours when your child is gone is an eternity. You know, you go down to the police department, and I know most of the police departments in our counties, and I have a lot of respect for them. You file that form, you try to show them, how urgent this is. But one of the first things that will happen is, how well do you know your child? You know, what were they wearing today? Who have they been talking to on social media? What apps do they have? Do you have copies of the apps? Can you bring any kind of social media with you when you go to the police department that they can look at to see if this is maybe they've been talking to someone online or in a video game chat room? So one of the things that I would caution, in fact, I have someone that works with Million Kids. Her name is Linda Berg Herring. She's been a private investigator for about 30 years. And she specializes in missing children and also child sex crimes and investigating those kinds of things. And, in some cases, I highly recommend that you consider a private investigator that specializes in those kinds of things. And she does speaking on behalf of Million Kids. She actually does a training program called How Well Do You Know Your Child? She was the one, I hadn't even thought about it. Do you have a sample of your child's DNA? Do you know their blood type? Do you have latest photos of them? What were they wearing when they left the house this morning? Hello. You ought to play that game within your family in case something like this happens. Make sure you have current photographs handy of that person. Make sure that they have identification on them. One of the things is that NCMEC said is that literally 1 in 6 kids are found because of the flyers that are out there. Well, we know that to be true, but you've got to contact organizations. If you have a situation of missing kids, you can go to millionkids.org, and we have a form you can fill out. Now, you have to have a police report number. We will not do this unless it has been reported to the police. But it is a free service, and the reason we can do that is people like yourself donate so that we can help other families get these flyers out. It costs a lot of money to put all this together, by the way. And I'm very, very grateful for the people who donate to Million Kids that makes this happen. But once we get that, what will happen is we'll have the family go on to millionkids.org, download the form, fill out that information, send us photos, and we will send it out literally to tens and tens of thousands of people where we built up our database over the years. We also, once it's filed with the police department, it will be sent to NCMEC, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Now, all of that takes time. That's why I did Million Kids Missing Kids. Mom and dad go down to the police department. They fill out the form. They're thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know any of these answers. They're home looking. They're trying to make flyers. They don't know what to do. And they're out of their mind. And I'll tell you that first 24 to 36 hours is the hardest time in a parent's life. And that is why we did Million Kids Missing Kids, because the police will start the activity, but again, they have a lot of cases, and then they will file it with with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, who will then send it out on a nationwide basis. But keep in mind, that takes time, and there are many, many flyers going out on a national basis. That is why we did Million Kids Missing Kids, as it gives us a chance to get a head start, support police with leads, because it says right on there, contact detective, right on there. Here's the phone number and here's the report number. The whole idea of our role in doing this is not for us to go out and find the child, but to get all the eyes we can by the thousands to find the child and report it back to the police department so they have leads to look at and somebody is out there being able to take advantage of all of this. So this is an important resource that Million Kids has been providing for a long, long time. Parents will tell you that it just made all the difference in the world to them because at least they feel like they can do something, that there's some reason that this is happening, that if they can find who their child disappeared with, if they know what is at stake here, if their child is being led in by someone they don't know, or maybe they're on drugs, or maybe they are being bullied at school, it gives them a chance to get a lead on this thing early on, and so that they can be found long before a child gets violated. So my name is Opal Singleton. This is brought to you by millionkids.org. We are starting to come up against that break, and so I'm going to be right back. We're going to talk about what is behind a runaway endangered child. Be right back. Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. I want to tell you about a book I wrote called Seduced: The Grooming of America's Teenagers. It's all about how predators access, groom, recruit, and exploit our young people using social media, online gaming, video chat rooms. Technology is changing at the speed of light, and we have to understand how to keep our kids safe from predators. So you can get this book by going to www.millionkids.org. It's $16. I'll sign it and I'll ship it to you personally. We hope that you will order this book, educate yourself about how to keep our kids safe in this day of changing technology. Join us each Saturday for our radio show at Exploited Crimes and Technology at 3 o'clock on AM 590. The Answer.
Custom Service Systems, a proud supporter of Million Kids, is a family-owned and operated commercial cleaning company servicing the Inland Empire and surrounding areas since 1974. CSS takes pride in their ability to maintain the business facilities they serve and their long-lasting relationships with their valued clients. CSS provides a variety of cleaning systems customized to client needs, including deep cleaning and disinfectant to be COVID-19 compliant. From basic office cleaning to windows and floors, CSS will clean up your mess so you don't have to stress. Custom Service Systems cares about families and communities and wants to give back. Custom Service Systems are proud supporters of Million Kids to keep kids safe from predators. If you need the best cleaning services for your business or corporation, contact Custom Service Systems at cssclean.com. Again, cssclean.com, or call 951-781-9345. That's 951-781-9345. You will know you found the best. Custom Service Systems.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. Let me tell you about my friend Doris Anderson at Remax Realty in Upland. She is amazing. She's kind, she's patient, but she listens. And she's informed, and she will help you with your real estate transaction in a way that works for you. Doris, in full disclosure, often supports the work of Million Kids because she cares about young people. But she knows how to analyze a market, how to market a property, and how to find just the right transaction for both buyers and sellers. If you're looking to buy or sell real estate or invest in income property, contact Doris Anderson at Remax Realty 951-733-8899. That's 951-733-8899. 951-733-8899.
AM 590. The Answer.
Hello, and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton, and we're talking about missing and runaway teenagers. I looked at the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. They were part of the movie that we created. Many of you know we are the executive producers for a movie called Sextortion: The Hidden Pandemic. If you and your family have not seen that movie, I highly recommend that you download it. It's at Amazon, Apple, or iTunes, Amazon, Apple, or iTunes, and it is called Sextortion, the Hidden Pandemic. And any age child can see that, but families, anybody that has a young person on a device of any kind ought to see that movie and discuss it within your family. So NCMEC, which is National Center for Missing Exploited Children, and our movie was made inside of Homeland Security and also NCMEC. They define an endangered runaway as a child under the age of 18 who is missing on his or her own accord and whose whereabouts are unknown to the parent or legal guardian. And by the way, when you're dealing with these runaway cases, just like we were yesterday, you have to have permission of the parent or the legal guardian in there. So according to a recent report from Chapin Hall, who I don't know who that is, 1 in 30 adolescent minors ages 13 to 17 endure some form of homelessness. 1 in 30. I was really surprised by those numbers. They're saying that 77% of endangered runaways reported to NCMEC were between the ages of 15 and 17. I guess that doesn't surprise me too much because you're getting your independence. You're kind of trying to figure out who you are, and you're probably being trusted more on social media by your folks because they're concentrating on the younger kids. But that is a pretty big number, okay? 77% were 15 to 17 years old. 87% of those missing kids had at least one reported risk factor, and 62% had 2 or more risk factors. So what's a risk factor? Well, that they had been physically or sexually abused, that there's conflict in the family, especially if they think there's a pending divorce. All of those things have a real impact on a teenager. I don't care how much you try to say, this isn't about you, honey. If there is a pending split in the family, that child feels great uncertainty. And they may even blame themselves and take off so that in hopes of being able to repair that. Maybe a lack of acceptance of gender identity or sexual orientation. Let me do a takeoff on that. You will hear me say this many times, quite frankly, when I speak. If your child comes to you and says, I think I'm gay, a lesbian, or LGBTQ, whatever, the first thing you don't do is reject that child. Now, you may have certain feelings about, gay or whatever, and you may not be up and willing to accept that with your child. But the worst thing that can happen here is to say, you're out of my house. Get out of here. Los Angeles is the largest community in the nation of gay or LGBTQ youth that have been thrown out on the street and are literally scrounging for their lives. And a child that has been thrown out on the street is a child that is going to be greatly exploited. You would be so much better off to sit down and go, I have mixed feelings about this. I have very strong feelings about what I like or don't like. But we are going to go into counseling, and you are still my son or daughter, and we will work through this together. You are not going out on the street. I love you regardless of our differences, and that is just so important to do that. Another risk factor is they're struggling with mental health. Maybe they're ADHD, maybe they're depressed, maybe they feel isolation. In those cases, invest in your child and get them counseling. When you're in teenage years, you may not be able to share all the feelings that you're experiencing with your parents, and accept that and get them some counseling. If there's a substance abuse problem, they're very at high risk of being out on the street because it is the street people that are trying to lure them in. The reason for that is they're put into sex trafficking to generate the money to pay for the drugs. And so that is a huge one. Maybe there's some sort of medical or development disability going on. Maybe the child is pregnant and doesn't know how to tell anyone, and so they will run away. But the most common factor I see, well, let me tell you some less common and I'll end with the most common. Maybe they're in a gang. That's a danger. Maybe they're fearful of rejection at school or being bullied at school. That's a huge one that we often see where they run away so they don't have to go to school. The most likely one in this is online enticement. And this is where we see them meet someone online, they fall in love, and the next thing you know, they're out there with that person. And that is the bulk of the cases that I often see. So the thing that I would share with you is if your child is online, get a contract with your child. Right off the bat, get a contract with them. Every app they have, you're going to have. Every app they have, they're going to teach you how to use it so you can tell if they're in a situation of danger. And that includes, by the way, video game chat rooms. Have open, regular discussions about the internet. And that is not, thou shalt not, I'm going to get you over my dead body. It isn't that kind of conversation. You want to contract with your child. And that you will share with them that you're going to check the phone. It's your phone. You're paying for it. Okay. But you believe in them and you're going to trust them. And so what's going to happen here is that you want a contract that they will never post anything online that they're not proud of, that might bring embarrassment to themselves or their family, that they will never go out and meet up with someone they met online. If they're thinking about it, talk to you about it, you're willing to have that conversation. And that if they're being exploited, that they will be willing to trust you enough to come and tell you that they are being exploited. Too many young people these days are taking their own lives because they made a terrible mistake and then they don't want to admit to it anybody. Somebody wants a lot of money and they don't know how to tell you. All of these are things that need to be addressed. This is the work of Million Kids. We're really going heavily this year into the issue of sextortion and blackmail. That's why we want you to see the film Sextortion, the Hidden Pandemic. It's important. Your child is going to be online and they are going to meet people. And some of those people are going to try to get them to go out and meet up. So it's important, number one, that you get involved, that you know the services that Million Kids offers, number one. And number two, that you have that open dialogue with your child so they don't end up being a missing and runaway child. It is a very complicated life out there for many of these teenagers. We work with them. We help try to find them. We refer them to counseling. We help them if they're being blackmailed. So we're coming to the end of the show, and I just want to take the time to recognize that we have several donors of late that have assisted us in putting together for the getting ready for next year. We need so many more resources than we have. We have the expertise. There's no doubt about that. We have the experience, but we also need to train literally an entire group of leaders that can go out and talk about this with facts and be advocates and spread the word to help other parents and like that. We also need you to get involved to help us with Million Kids Missing Kids. We spent our whole Sunday yesterday trying to locate and free a 14-year-old girl. We didn't free her. The Fontana Police Department did. We were able to support them in their work, but those are the real heroes, are people who will listen and say, maybe, just maybe, we might be able to locate her. And we did. And her family, I can tell you right now, is incredibly grateful that everybody worked together to do this over a 5-hour period, locate her and get her. Now they're going to find out who was the person that transported her across 2 state lines and make sure that justice is done. So the organization is called millionkids.org. If you want to donate, you can simply go to millionkids.org and hit that donate button, use your credit card. It also has a P.O. box on there if you're old-fashioned and you like checks. I personally go to that post office, and every time I see a check, I go, praise God. We keep going down the road doing what we do. but we need more resources to do it. So thank you, everybody, for listening and supporting this show. I hope you have a great week. Put your arms around your family. Let your spouse know how proud you are of them. Look at your kids and let them know you love them. See you next Saturday at 3 o'clock.
This message is all about Million Kids, the organization that helps locate missing kids throughout Southern California and educates to keep kids safe from predators. Million Kids educates school administrators, teachers, parents, and teenagers how predators identify a potential victim and the methods they use to recruit innocent kids. BMW of Riverside is a proud supporter of Million Kids. Visit BMW of Riverside at the Adams Street exit off the 91 freeway or click bmwofriverside.com.